Southern Nazarene has a chance to knock off the only undefeated team left in the Great American Conference as they play host to the East Central Tigers. It's East Central, Southern Nazarene, here on SNUathletics.com.
Fingerball flips it over to Starkey for the slam. He's going to step up in the pocket, looking to throw. He's got a man! Alden Coleman Jr. Jeff Harris gets some contact there, going deep left. It's going. And that ball is history. Shot clock down to 10. They're looking for the alley-oop, but look out! Waylon Newton.
Yeah, with the shot. And
what a goal! Swung on, hit hard. Sam Smith going back. It's out of here!
Don't pull! Go get him! Go get him!
Berlin set Bowie. Gets down for the kill. Courtney Bowie. Abby Boyd going to take a three. Yes, sir.
Just inside the box at the top.
Goal! It's over! The Crimson Storm have won!
Welcome to SNUathletics.com. I'm John Hale alongside my fellow bearded partner in crime, Connor McKenzie. We're getting ready for a wonderful night of volleyball as the Crimson Storm will play host to the East Central Tigers. Michaela Schoeneman will join me up here in the booth in just a few moments. In the meantime, we got Mr. McKenzie. Connor, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing fantastic, John. It's a nice, cool day outside here in Bethany, Oklahoma. Ready to see some action here between the SNU Crimson Storm and the ECU Tigers. Should be a fun battle here tonight.
Definitely so. September is coming to an end as the last game of the month of September is coming up for both these teams. And we're excited for just an awesome night of volleyball. Lead us into the breakdown, Connor.
Absolutely. The Tigers started 2-10 this season, but have won the first two games in conference play and include a 3-2 win over Oklahoma Baptist and an absolute thriller down in Ada this past Saturday. OBU upended SNU in 5 sets last Thursday in Shawnee, but the Tigers have a 3-2 loss to Pittsburgh State, a team that SNU swept. So both teams kind of flustering a little bit between different teams, different styles and different forms of competition between the both teams here in the Great American Conference and teams outside of the conference. So let's see how they can go up against that, as both teams also have a 3-0 sweep against Southeastern Oklahoma State, a team at the bottom of the conference. So we'll see how both teams perform here under pressure.
Exactly so, Connor. If the Storm can pull off a win tonight, it will match the longest streak of the year as 3 matches, which they did start the year. So 3 in a row, that's the goal for tonight. SNU would need to win its next 4 matches in conference play to tie its best start since 2013 at a 7-1 start. There's some history between these two teams, Connor.
You're right, John. The all-time series leans heavily towards Southern Nazarene, coming in with an 8-1 all-time against East Central Tigers. A lone win came back in 2012 season, a 3-0 loss in Ada. East Central seems to be a very good at-home team as they picked up a win against Oklahoma Baptist, a very tough team in the Great American Conference. Since then, the Storm have won. Excuse me, John. Sorry.
Excuse me.
Yeah. Since then, the Storm won 7 straight. 5 of the last 8 wins have gone 5 sets, however, including last year's 3-2 win by SNU and Ada. The last time these two teams played, SNU picked up a 3-1 win inside the Sawyer Center. So we'll look to see if SNU can continue that trend here and continue this winning streak.
The SNU Crimson Storm definitely have the Tigers' number in meetings past, and that seems to be what they will strive to do today, as they're coming off once against a less than stellar hitting team, as SNU comes in as one of the best defensive teams in the conference, allowing just .163 hitting percentage and lead the conference in digs at 17.81 a match. Per set. 17.81 per set. They also rank 5th in the GAC in blocks per set at 1.7. And the Storm's offense is also atop the league at 12.3 assists per set and kills at 13.14. Abby Bell is 2nd in the GAC in digs per set at 5 even. Well, Elise Berlin is 2nd in assists per set at 10.29. Courtney Bowie is 8th in the GAC in kills per set, 3 even. And we know, we've seen her work. Elise Berlin is one of the best in the game at what she does. And Bowie is creeping up on the kills ladder as the senior has 578 kills total. She needs 22 more to become the 23rd player in school history with a record of 600. That's an incredible mark.
Be an incredible feat for the senior here for the Crimson Storm. She had about 17 in one game earlier this season against Emporia State. It's a fantastic performance by Courtney Bowie. I'm pretty sure she'll reach that mark very soon this season.
Who knows? It may even be tonight if she goes off. So
You
there's
never know what could happen.
every game's a mystery, and every game is fun. And we're going to start off with another fun night here at Bethany, Oklahoma, in the Sawyer Center when we come back to SNUathletics.com. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Now joining me in the booth is fellow West Texas native Michaela Shoneman. Michaela, how are you doing tonight?
Good, John. Thank you. How are you?
I'm great. It's
Good.
our first time together up here in the booth together, so it's going to be a ton of fun, guys. And so right now, we're going to be going into our impact players for both the Crimson Storm and the East Central Tigers. Michaela, who are you looking for tonight?
Right. So for East Central, the two outside hitters, both juniors, completely different players, but both very impactful on the outside against the Storm tonight. They will be the first one being Madison Gill, number 8. She's a 6'1" outside hitter. So there's a difference between the two outside hitters in the sense of their height. The second outside hitter we're looking for is number 4, Casey Harrison. She's only standing at 5'7". So those are two completely different hitters, but both very good and both very effective, with Gill with 118 kills on the year, and then Harrison with 107 kills on the year, both leading their teams.
So how will East Central learn to use like their height difference between their two outside hitters? How will they exploit that to try and take on the SNU Crimson Storm?
Right. So, I mean, standing at 6'1", you automatically pretty much have an advantage. So hopefully we can get Courtney Bowie matched up on her on the outside to shut her down. And then Casey Harrison is going to have to really place the ball standing at 5'7", so she's going to have to be able to hit the spots on the court that the Crimson Storm is not.
Right. So SNU coming off of 2 sweeps in a row. But then before that, we had a little bit of a debacle in 5 sets against the OBU Bison. Mm-hmm. So who are you looking for the Crimson Storm in this match against the Tigers?
Right. So last game we were looking out for Kayla Benner and Bailey Turing, who both performed really well on the offensive side, as well as Bailey Turing on the defensive side, and Kayla on the defensive side blocking. Today we're looking out for Elise Berlin at the setter position with 422 assists on the year. She is leading the GAC in assists right now. And then is also Abby Bell with 211 digs on the season as well. Both of them a huge key part to what the Crimson Storm do as far as keeping that ball in play, and then also Elise Berlin running the offense.
Well, Elise Berlin has been here for years. She knows exactly what she does, and I would dare say that she's one of the best in the conference. And not just the conference, I'd say that she's one of the best in the country at what she does. You look all over the country that she's led this team since she was a young girl coming into SNU. Now she's a senior in her final year, and so you got to believe that she's going to be leading this team to something bigger than just a couple rounds in the GAC tournament.
Right, of course. No, Elise has a very intellectual game. She knows how to place the ball, and she knows exactly who to give the ball to make us most effective. And with the Crimson Storm, we've talked about this several times in the other games, but offensively, the Crimson Storm is unstoppable when it comes to so many options on the front row to set to be able to put the ball away. It's not just one hitter.
Right.
It's all the hitters. Everyone can contribute. So Elise really has every card in her hand. She just has to know which one to play at the right time.
Now that slide with Michaela Benner. Michaela Benner's slide is literally one of the most lethal things that I've ever seen on any court whatsoever.
Very hard to defend.
Very hard to defend. Also on the court, McKenna Qualls. I believe that she was named one of the team captains and sort of I believe that you've told me the spiritual
team leader.
The spiritual team leader. She's just insane. She doesn't have an off switch, is what I like to, and I found this out last year in my first year of broadcasting. Her serve is scary. It's like every time she serves, it's like a little atomic blast just goes off, just boom, and you can hear it throughout the entire stadium. And it's not just that, it's coming at you hard and fast.
Right.
So East Central going to be having a bit of trouble possibly with that. What I'm looking out for is East Central's offense and and how they perform defensively. Offensively on paper, not the best. Their hitting percentage is definitely on the low side, with their highest coming in at just 170. But then again, they are undefeated in conference with a 2-0 record. So to me, that yells resiliency. They are not going to be the most aggressive team, but they're going to let you make the mistake. And that's dangerous.
Accurate.
That's a dangerous team to go up against.
For sure, John. So East Central so far is winning as far as it comes with the record in conference play. They're on the top right now. So this is a big game for SNU to be able to take that first seed in the conference right now. Also, ECU, one thing that has led them to success so far has been their ability to extend rallies, to put the ball in play and to keep the play going and letting other people make mistakes, just like you said.
Well, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to go over the rest of the GAC, and we'll have our starting lineups and our first serve of the match. It's going to be a fun night.
It will.
We'll be right back here on SNUathletics.com. Welcome back to SNUathletics.com. Right now, we're going to go into our favorite aspect of the show, Michaela Shauneman's. There's a lot of McKennas and Michaelas around here tonight.
You're right.
Michaela Shauneman's keys to victory for the Crimson Storm.
Right, John, thanks. So today, just watching the warm-ups and the difference between the two teams, right now, the Storm has energy going for them as far as like what they have as an advantage over the ECU Tigers. They've come out really, really strong, and they are looking to put together a really good warm-up. Also for today, as I mentioned earlier, the two outside hitters for ECU are both really effective. So I feel like a huge key for the Crimson Storm is going to be defensively shutting them down. If you cut off offensively their two greatest hitters, that's going to put us in a good place to succeed. Also, as I mentioned previously, ECU plays a different kind of volleyball than the Crimson Storm does. They have a very scrappy, a little bit scattered offense at times. And so the Crimson Storm, the pressure is all on them when it comes to that. It's their job to keep the ball in play and make ECU make the mistakes, which they do not do very often. Also, the Crimson Storm is going to have to be really disciplined on defense. ECU has a tendency to not mishit the ball, but not always hit it right where you're expecting it to be. So they've got to be able to stay disciplined on defense and be able to do what they know how to do best and be able to shut them down. Also, the Crimson Storm is going to need to produce on the serving line tonight and be able to make ECU get scrambling and out of system for that first ball.
Last time they were in Bethany, the serving was a little bit off for the Crimson Storm, so you're right. That serving game is going to be a big aspect. And we've been talking about it all night, how East Central is the last undefeated team in the conference. So we're going to go over the conference standings at this point. And like we said, East Central right up there at the top with a 2-0 record. Right behind them, Ouachita, Southern Nazarene, Arkansas Tech, and Oklahoma Baptist. All of those teams 3-1 records. And if Southern Nazarene comes into this match, takes care of business, they are right there at the top with potentially a 4-1 record, depending on how the rest of the conference do. They could be sitting pretty all by themselves at the top of the conference.
Right.
Behind them with 2-2 records is Harding and Henderson State. Harding, a little bit of a deceptive one, hanging down there in the middle of the conference, but they also boast a 10-4 overall record.
Right.
So Harding, very, very good, and SNU will have to deal with them on down the road, as right now they're beating Southern Arkansas as we speak in Searcy. Also down there with a 1-2, Northwestern Oklahoma State, 1-3, Southern Arkansas, and Arkansas Monticello, both at 1-3. And then down there in the cellar dwellers, Southwestern Oklahoma State and Southeastern Oklahoma State, both 0 in conference play.
Right.
So we are about 2.5 minutes away from our first serve. When we come back, we'll have our starting lineups and our first serve of the actual match. When we come back here to SouthernNazareneAthletics.com, do not go anywhere. Welcome back to SNUathletics.com. We are just about started. We're just about getting ready to get started for our match between the Crimson Storm and the East Central Tigers. We're just about to get our first starting lineups for the Crimson Storm. Number 1, Elise Berlin. Number 3, McKenna Benner. McKenna Hunter, Number 6, Bailey Terang. They're at the outside hitting position. Number 8, Lexi Matthews, also on the outside hitting position. Number 11, Michaela Benner, right there in the middle. Kylie Smith, the young gun, 5'10" freshman from Deer Park, Texas. And Abby Bell, the libero, 5'8" senior from Georgetown, Texas. And the Storm are coached by Kevin Ingram. For the East Central Tigers, we have number 4, Casey Harrison, number 7, Taylor Turner, number 8, Madison Gill, number 9, Madeline Mayer, number 10, Lily Porsa, number 12, Mackenzie Davis, number 13, Alex Campbell, all on the court to start out for the Tigers. And we are just about ready to start here in Bethany, Mikhail. Both teams wearing black tonight. Crimson Storm wearing black with crimson numbers, and East Central wearing black with orange numbers. And we are just about ready to get it started here in the Sawyer Center. So the officials getting everything situated. Both teams getting a little bit more juice going in the tank as we are just about ready to start set number 1. And East Central will do the honors of leading us off. It's number 7, Taylor Turner, will start us out. Right behind her, the Crimson Storm student section. And we're off. Set up for the Crimson Storm, going to deliver, and it's out. So already
We've got an overturn call there, John, as the ball was touched on the block as it was going out of bounds. So that point's going to go over to the Crimson Storm.
Now that's a lucky call for the Crimson Storm. I mean, that one was clearly going out, and just lucky it caught the fingertips of a Tiger. So the Crimson Storm will lead to start. And that one's going the way out. Delivered by number 4, Casey Harrison.
Like I talked about in pregame there, John, the East Central Tigers come at every angle when it comes to offense. You can never expect it to be in one place. They always switch it up.
And it's blocked right back in their face. Crimson Storm already jumping out to a 3-0 lead.
We've got a good momentum shift going here for the Storm right here, John. The East Central Tigers are struggling on serve receive.
There's number 13 for the Tigers, Alex Campbell, trying to get more hits on, and digged up by the Storm, and they're coming on the attack once again. There's a set by the Tigers, and it's coming back, and it barely just skips over the net. Picked up by the Storm and given right back. Another hit this time from Casey Harrison. And that one's blocked again, so now we got a good rally going on. And that one's hit right into the net, and the Tigers get their first point of the match.
Just a little mishit there by Lexi Matthews, number 8 on the outside, trying to place that ball just so. Didn't quite get it right there. But excellent defense right there by the Crimson Storm, picking up that off-blocker defense of Courtney Bowie, and also a couple of mishit shots there.
So Harrison will serve now for the Tigers, and here comes the Storm, and they put it right back on their side of the court. There's number 18, Courtney Bowie.
Now we got Caitlin Val checking into the game to serve on that back row for Lexi Matthews.
So Matthews will take an exit. Val will come in. And that one goes out just on the wrong side of the outline. And gives it back to ECU, a 4-2 lead. Now the Crimson Storm trying to find something to work with. Some more. It's dug up by the Tigers. They'll just send it back over. And here comes the Crimson Storm on the attack, and they just kind of tip it over the heads of the blockers. Doesn't do anything. That one's blocked by the Crimson Storm. Here we go again. It's dug up by Berlin. Another outside hit. And once again, couldn't quite find the right angle as it going on a diagonal pattern just over the net, goes right out of bounds. And it brings the Tigers within one. Blocked by the Tigers, couldn't quite get it. They just try to send it over. And now the Crimson Storm a little bit back on their heels as they're tied up 4-4.
We're looking to get a good pass here on serve receive, John, to get that ball in system and let our offensive work.
Just tipped over. And the Tigers easily pick it up. And it's just a blocking marathon going on for the Crimson Storm. It was number 3, McKenna Hunter, and number 18, Courtney Bowie on the block for the Crimson Storm.
Courtney Bowie definitely making a presence over there on the right side, shutting down those outside hitters.
Crimson Storm regained the lead. And another outside hit. It's just sent right back over by Abby Bell. And that had some heat on it, but they're able to dig it back up for the Tigers. Abby Bell putting on a clinic with her digs. And it's finds the corner. Harrison sends it back over the net and finds that corner closest to us. And tie the match back up at 5 apiece. And that time it sails right out of the back of the court, Alex Campbell.
And here we have Kylie Smith checking back into the game. I believe, John, this is her first start of the season so far at home.
She will hit the young freshman, trying to make her presence felt early. And finds the net instead. Ties the match back up at 6. So back and forth they go, trading errors. Now serving for the Tigers, number 8, Madison Gill. And a little bit of a dig error right there by number 5 of the Crimson Storm, Caitlin Vout.
Definitely have to control that first ball in system, John. That's kind of the key to the whole play right there, is getting that first pass to the target.
Dug up by Bell. And hit off the hands of the Tigers.
I'll tell you what, John, number 6, Bailey Turang is doing an excellent job on the outside right now, keeping that ball in play and being really disciplined.
Turang, another freshman. This one coming out of Corona, California. Can't talk today. That one sails right out of bounds.
There's a third serving error for the Crimson Storm so far. That's something that we've got to be able to take care of to clinch this win today.
One of Michaela Schauneman's keys to success, not being followed by the Crimson Storm to start out. Seems to be a little bit of miscommunication. And that one's hit right back over Elise Berlin, taking advantage of the miscommunication by the Tigers.
A common mistake that people seem to make against the SNU Crimson Storm is underestimating Elise Berlin's aggressiveness on the front row.
Now entering the game is Benner. And that one's just an attacking error on number 12, Mackenzie Davis, tries to just tap it over the net, but instead it goes behind her. Gives SMU a 9-8 lead. And that one sent right back into number 4, Casey Harrison's face. And Crimson Storm take a 10-8 lead. Serving for the Crimson Storm this past couple of serves, Michaela Benner. Not really known for serving as much as her attacking, but it's consistent and it gets over the net. Here come the Tigers once again. The Tigers are working through Casey Harrison as she puts another kill on her resume. Number 7 for the Tigers, Taylor Turner. Sends it right back to the other side and right over the end line. As that has been the story for the Tigers' last couple serves. They get the serve and they send it right through the back. Here comes Elise Berlin. And that one, just a little bit of a touch, a little bit of finesse right there by number 18, Courtney Bowie.
I've talked about this in previous games, John, but Courtney Bowie just displays an excellent amount of maturity when it comes to knowing when to tip, when to go full swing, and when to just put that ball back in play. She does an excellent job of that.
Great defense right here for the Crimson Storm, keeping the ball alive for another rally. It's blocked by the Tigers and sent back over. And it's sent back. Harrison can't find anything open. And now we got a heck of a rally going on as each team trying to find good digs, and it's finally put away by the Tigers.
Elise Berlin just a little out of position there on defense. Not quite all the way over to the line to dig that ball.
So Harrison will put another serve on the... Here comes the Crimson Storm as a couple of errors right there in setting, but they were able to get it back over the net that time once again. And here comes that resiliency that we talked about with the Tigers as they are storming back to make it 12-11. And like we were talking about in the pregame, Michaela, the Tigers don't make a lot of mistakes. They let you make the mistakes.
That is their game, John.
And they are working through number 4, Casey Harrison. Their outside hitter. Dug out by the Crimson Storm. That touches the pole on the net. And it's tied up at 12. So back and forth they go in this first set. And right behind Harrison is the ever intimidating Crimson Storm student section. Tries to tap it over blockers, but sends it back to Crimson Storm, and Crimson Storm just give him right back. Bell with another dig. Crimson Storm unable to find a way to attack, and it's blocked right back. SNU making up for the lack of aggressiveness with a couple of key blocks.
I'll tell you the key to that play there, John. Abby Bell being really, really solid there on defense. Also taking that second ball when Elise gets the first and getting those out-of-system balls out to those outside hitters to keep that play going. That's a big key to the success of that play there.
So Crimson Storm will take serving duties once again. Sends it right back into the net. Vout unable to convert. We're tied back up at lucky 13.
That is Caitlin Vout's second service error of the game.
So here comes the Crimson Storm once again on the attack. It's turning into a finesse game between these two teams as that one flies out of the back of the court. Number 8, Madison Gill, trying to find something that wasn't there.
What we're seeing here, John, is a battle of defense and a battle of consistency on both sides of the net here.
Another block by the Crimson Storm. Tries to find that inside corner close to the net. Unable to do so. gives another point to the Tigers. As we are tied back up at 14. Terang once again with another solid hit, flies off to the right, and ECU has a lead. Here come the Tigers once again, and that one flies out of the back. So those service errors keeping SNU and the Tigers close. A couple by the Tigers and a couple by the Storm. No one's perfect here tonight.
Here comes Kylie Smith with a serve. John, as this is her second attempt. A good chance to prove herself and be able to get back into the swing of things here.
Smith, the freshman out of Deer Park, sends it flying out of the back of the court as well. Unable to convert on her second chance from the serving line.
Going into this game, John, the SNU Crimson Storm knew that one thing they would have to take care of is those first ball contacts, those serves and those serve-receive balls.
Crimson Storm having a little bit of trouble trying to get it close to the net. They have a chance right there. Benner tries to put it in, can't quite do it. And a big hit. And number 17, Kylie Smith, just can't hang on to it. And
what we're seeing also on the outside, sorry about that, John, we're also seeing Harrison really exposing that line ball on the outside there. She's hit that shot about 4 or 5 times now and has been successful in getting kills down that line. Our right backs are really need to step up and be able to defend that attack.
So service error once again. And it closes the gap just a little bit. Takes the Tiger lead to 1 point once again. And right now on the serving line is McKenna Qualls. Like I was talking about in the pregame, one scary serve for that one. See if she is able to convert. And she will put it over, and it goes right and high and sends it right back over to SNU. So SNU with an opportunity. Benner, two attacks in a row by Benner, and she finally gets it to go on the second attempt and ties the ball game up again.
I can tell you, John, there's not another middle blocker in the conference that can go up and win a joust against Kayla Benner when she goes up strong. She is so powerful with her hands and being able to push that ball back on the other side.
An ace by McKenna Qualls. Looked like a little bit of a curveball going on there towards the court. Tried to be dug up, but it couldn't quite get there.
Yeah, Qualls taking a little bit off that serve there. After having so many service errors, Qualls is displaying a good amount of discipline right now, putting the ball in play and letting her team do their work.
A touch by the Crimson Storm will tie this game back up at 18, so back and forth they go. It's a shootout here in Bethany.
Right now, SNU Crimson Storm is looking to get a good passing system and be able to run their offense well to get that kill.
Just sent back over. No one was home right there in the middle. That was number 3, McKenna Hunter. Looks to be going up for the set. Just sent it back to where no one was sitting. Gives the lead back to the Crimson Storm, and Benner once again with that consistent serve. Not too much power, but consistent all the less. An error, a double touch by the Tigers will give the Crimson Storm a 2-0 lead as they will try to convert, and a timeout taken by the East Central Tigers. So we'll take it one with them. When we come back, the Crimson Storm have a 20-18 lead here in the first set when we come back to SNUathletics.com. Welcome back to SMUathletics.com. Michaela Benner will serve it to the Tigers with a 2-point lead for the Crimson Storm. A little bit of miscommunication. We'll just give it back to the Crimson Storm, and they send it right back into the net. Give the Tigers a point. So here come the Tigers. Taylor Turner. And Taylor Turner, 3 serves and 3 service errors as they all go behind the back line. Crimson Storm will serve once again. That was Elise Berlin. They sails off to the left. And the Crimson Storm now have a 3-point lead. It's the largest that they've had in this first set. And that one's put right down by number 13, Alex Campbell. Harrison on the serve. And it's blocked, but blocked out of bounds for the Tigers. So the Crimson Storm, once again with a 3-point lead, trying to close this first set out against the Tigers. That will make you pay if you let them stick around.
Here's Caitlin Vout for her 3rd serve of the game, and hopefully an opportunity to redeem herself after 2 service errors here, John.
Well, she'll have to wait just a couple of minutes before she gets that chance as another timeout is taken. So we'll keep it right here. We'll keep it right here on SMUathletics.com, and we'll talk a little bit about what we'll be seeing in this first set. Michaela, what stuck out to you so far?
So far, I don't know if I've seen this many service errors in one game before, John. It's really gone back and forth. I'm not quite sure what the element of that is today, but that's definitely something that we hope to see improve as this game goes on to gain success in this match.
So both ECU and Southern Nazarene exchanging service errors in this first set, as you can see times where one could make a break and go ahead, but then a service error just kills it.
Kills that momentum. Definitely, John.
So we'll start again with Vout. She will serve to the Tigers. Probably should have let that one go by Elise Berlin, as looked very close to the line. Good effort on the ball, but unable to get there. Makes it a 23-21 set. Here's the attack by Qualls, and it's sent out of bounds, and we're at set point for the Crimson Storm. So Abby Bell will take the serve for set point as the Sawyer Center is now on its feet. And a double hit will end the set for the Crimson Storm, who will finally end the first set with a 25-21 victory. And as the teams and as well as the student section, which is becoming one of my favorite traditions here at SNU, as soon as the set is over, the Crimson Storm have the student section has a mass migration to the other end of the court, try and get in the heads of those visitors to the Sawyer Center.
I will say, John, what they've done so far has been working, as there has been several service errors by East Central.
Oh, you got to give a big shout out to our Storm Chasers, as that organization has once again had a rebirth here at SNU. As you can see, those guys wearing yellow. So we'll take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll have the second set for you here at SNUathletics.com. Welcome back to SNUathletics.com. Crimson Storm take the first set by a score of 25-21. We'll have a little bit of a recap of that first set real quick, bringing in my partner, Michaela Schoeneman.
Thanks, John. So just watching this first game, what stands out to me is, first of all, the overall tempo of the game just seemed to be extremely slow compared to what the SNU Crimson Storm usually perform at. Just as far as like the passes and the attacks, like everything just seemed to be a little bit loose, a little bit slow, a little bit sloppy. But I feel like the SNU Crimson Storm is ready to come out for the second game and to tighten those things up and really go hard and go right at them.
Now, teams like ECU that let you make the mistake, really, they like to slow it down. They like to play at their own pace, and SNU needs to find a way to play at their speed, not ECU's speed.
For sure.
Nevertheless, SNU will get the honors of starting off the second set. It's Bailey Terang will start off. Second set, 0-0 apiece, and we're ready to start here. Here come the Tigers. That time, it's East Central that strikes first on an attack by number 13, Alex Campbell. Blocked at the net by the Crimson Storm, but it just goes out of bounds. And this time, the Tigers are able to regather and pick it up. Here it is another again, and that one's going to find inside. Terang.
You can also see there, John, ECU's outside hitters both play different kinds of defenses when our outsides are attacking, and Lexi Matthews just took a huge advantage of that.
Another huge attack by the Crimson Storm, sends it right off a Tiger and into the rolled up stands, almost up there on the indoor track.
A mistake that teams can make while playing the Crimson Storm would be to underestimate Elise Berlin's ability to get her hitters to attack out of the back row. And that is a big asset that a lot of teams do not have, John.
So we're back into another set, seemingly, where they're going to go back and forth. It's all a matter of who's going to come out with the momentum at the end. That one's going to go out. An attack by number 18, Courtney Bowie, is blocked and sent out of bounds by the Tigers. So Crimson Storm, 3-2 lead.
Looks like we got a little confusion on the court as far as who's supposed to be in right now. Coach Ingram does like to switch up that lineup from game to game, and sometimes, if not communicated completely clearly, can be a little confusing for the players.
A little bit of miscommunication between Qualls and Benner ends up in a Tigers point, and that's just something that you just need to erase out of your mind.
Once again, John, we're having a little bit of issues here with this lineup. We're charging two subs here, getting Bailey Terang back on the court as we were out of rotation.
So Terang will enter, and McKenna Qualls, should I be on the court? Should I not?
The Crimson Storm are playing with 5 players at the moment, and Kevin Ingram is going to have to call a timeout to get his players back in order. He does not look pleased about this miscommunication.
And I don't think any coach is going to be pleased about a substitute malfunction. I mean, the Crimson Storm very lucky to get a point there, as the Crimson Storm, as you say, we're playing with 5 and able to get the dump and the point. So we're tied up at 3 apiece right now when we come back to SNUathletics.com. Welcome back to SNUathletics.com. Out of the timeout, Crimson Storm seemed to have found the answer to that substituting problem, but not to their serving error problem, as another serve will go into the net, this time by Caitlin Vout. And we're tied back up at 4, so.
Big part of volleyball, John, that you have to understand is that you cannot hang on to one play or one mistake. As soon as you make a mistake, you got to have a really short-term memory. You got to be able to move on to the next play.
So Benner on the attack just touches the net with her hand, and that will give the ball back to the Tigers, as well as a 5-4 lead. McKenna Qualls, a monstrous attack, is able to be dug up and blocked by the Crimson Storm. And a double hit violation. We'll tie the ball game back up. So it's just errors. It's just little mental issues that end up being the Achilles heel for not just the East Central Tigers, but both teams. Qualls just sends it back over, trying to play it lackadaisical-like. It'll be dug up by the Crimson Storm, and Qualls again. And that time it's blocked by Benner, who finishes the job after it was dug up by the Tigers. So Benner right there in the middle, living up to her position name. And that one's going to sail out as the Tigers were in a bit of an awkward position to try and make something happen with that strike by the Crimson Storm.
Yeah, John, when that ball really gets outside the antenna, it's really difficult to keep those plays going, as that antenna, if hit outside of it, is a point for the other team.
So Kylie Smith sends that one to the net. Crimson Storm maintain a 7-6 lead. And another service error by the Tigers, this time by number 8, Madison Gill. Sends it right back out. Gives the Crimson Storm a 2-point lead. Abby Bell, the libero, will now proceed. We're back at it again. Blocked by the Tigers and sent out of bounds. Another point for the Crimson Storm, and the Crimson Storm possibly finding their rhythm here in the second set. Bell on the serve. And that time, it was Casey Harrison. And Casey Harrison may only be 5'7", but she can jump out of the building and lay down some vicious attacks. Another dump by Elise Berlin.
East Central is having a really hard time staying disciplined on defense and being able to dig up those balls.
Elise Berlin with another one of those dumps. That's 3 that she's able to score on. Blocked just enough for the Crimson Storm to come on again. Another attack. That one just a little bit lackadaisical. And that time, not lackadaisical at all. Sent off the hands of the Tigers. Crimson Storm, 3-point lead.
A big key for the Crimson Storm, with that 5-1 setter offense that they run with their rotation, meaning we only have one setter who plays front row and back row both. It's important for Elise Berlin to make an offensive appearance in the front row, and that's exactly what she did just there, John. As she went up on that ball on 2 and put that ball down, she is allowed to do that only when she's in the front row.
So a substitution by the Tigers, taking out number 5, Madison Sealer, and bringing in number 13, Alex Campbell. So Campbell and Harrison are the two players that the Tigers are trying to work through. Can't quite get a foothold, but thankfully for the Tigers, neither can SNU. And a little bit of miscommunication by the Tigers gives the Crimson Storm a 4-point lead. That's the largest by either team in this match. And a timeout taken by the Tigers.
Coach Anderson not looking pleased with her team as there's been several instances of miscommunication. If we take it back all the way down to a kindergarten level of volleyball, John, I would say the most important thing that you have to be able to use, the most important muscle in your body, is your mouth.
It is your mouth. You're right, Michaela. I mean, most of what volleyball is just communication, and I mean, of course, intramurals and volleyball going on here at SNU's. I mean, and obviously they're not up to the par of these players, but you'll see that the ones that are actually trying to compete starting to talk to each other a little bit.
Right.
And so just a little bit of an update here in the GAC. Only score that we have for you so far, Harding sweeps Southern Arkansas, and that will put Southern Arkansas's record at 1-4 down there by the bottom of the conference. So here come the Crimson Storm as we'll start up again. And Elise Berlin sends that one into the net.
That's a rare thing that we see from Elise Berlin, John. She is a very consistent server. You don't see a lot of service errors from Elise.
You're right, Elise, one of the senior leaders, doesn't make those mental mistakes very often. Here comes the Crimson Storm. And now the Tigers once again. Number 8 for the Tigers, Madison Gill. At first thought to hit it out of bounds, but on an overturned call will give the point to the Tigers. And they've cut this 4-point lead in half. Now the Crimson Storm. And once again, and that one blocks it right back. Tried to be dug up by number 10, Lily Porsa. Unable to do it. She can't quite hang on to it. 13-10 game here in Bethany. Now the Crimson Storm trying to find some more offense. McKenna Qualls sends it back over. And a little bit of an untimed jump by Vout and Qualls. Gives a clear opening right there in the middle of the court for a Tiger kill.
Yeah, that was an excellent real shot there on their right side hitter, John. Putting that ball right in where the Crimson Storm defense was not.
And now a block by the Tigers. 13-12. We're going back and forth once again. Qualls with the set. And now the attack. And sends it. Looks like it went out of bounds, but not quite. Finds the line. And we are tied up at 13 again. So same song, different chorus. Tied up at 13 in the second set. Qualls with the attack. Able to be dug up. And right now for the Tigers, number 8, Madison Gill, putting on a show in the second set. She takes the lead away from the Storm and gives it to East Central.
These outside hitters, John, are really exposing our right back defense right now. That's something that they have found that they can score on, and they are definitely taking hold of that opportunity.
Tigers find the back line again. And now the Tigers with a little bit of momentum. Qualls says no way and gets a kill of her own.
And here's Michaela Benner back in the game. Michaela Benner has a tendency, John, to be a big momentum shift when she comes into the game. Her presence, just as a person and the way that she carries herself, is a big game changer sometimes for the people that she's playing next to.
That time, Vout's serve goes outside in the back of the court and resets the 2-point lead for the Tigers.
SNU's looking to get some positive energy here. Just let them get in system and let them do what they know how to do best.
Benner.
And there it is.
Yeah. What else? There's nothing you can do, ladies and gentlemen. There's just, you might as well go home if that's the case. That slide by Benner is basically the kiss of death. It's dug up and unable to be saved, almost saved by the Crimson Storm. A couple of reaching digs. Couldn't quite get it back over to the net on the right side. Now the Tigers, once again, now the Tigers are known that if they just need to get to set number 5, and they're sitting pretty, so the Crimson Storm can't let them get set up in that kind of area. And a missed-time jump by McKenna Qualls. There's no better timing than that. East Central tried to set up for another shot by McKenna Qualls, and McKenna Qualls just says, I'll take it slow on you this time.
Right, McKenna Qualls displaying a good deal of discipline there. She comes in really hard, a good percentage of the time, but then every once in a while, she intellectually just sees a spot on the floor and goes straight to it, just like Michaela Benner did right there. Saw a spot.
Benner finds the corner. Now the Crimson Storm are tied back up at 17. Blocked by the Crimson Storm. And that time, it's Elise Berlin. Excuse us for the audio issues, ladies and gentlemen. Always seems to we find something to fix here on SNUathletics.com, but we got it up and running for you. In case you missed anything, SNU went on a run of their own after ECU got a bit of run of their own. They take a 3-point lead for the Crimson Storm, and now they add to it. Bailey Tarang makes it a 4-point lead for the Crimson Storm, 21-17. Abby Bell with the serve. Here come the Crimson Storm. Benner finds the corner. Couldn't quite put it in.
That was an excellent vision play there by Michaela Benner, John. Just not quite able to really position that ball right where she wanted it to be. But an excellent choice nonetheless.
Michaela Benner showing great vision regardless where she is. And there it is, that slide. Not as much power she likes to put on it. And now the Tigers roaring back. Cuts the lead in half to 2, 21-19. And we have a timeout by the Crimson Storm. So it's been a little bit of a back and forth tale here in Bethany. As in the first set, errors were exchanged for errors, and now in the second set, we're adding errors exchanged for errors with runs exchanged for runs.
Right. John, we're looking at a volleyball game between two teams that play very different types of volleyball. And when I say that, it might be a little confusing. You might ask, how can there be different kinds of volleyball? But there really is, John. There's different tempos, there's different offenses, there's all kinds of different factors that take place in how a team defines themselves as a volleyball team. And SNU straying from that a little bit right now, I believe. SNU clings to their ability to be very versatile on the front row. Right now we're really heavily relying on just a couple of people, which is uncharacteristic of SNU typically. But ECU seems to be controlling the game tempo-wise, bringing the game down to their level, and almost lulling SNU to sleep a little bit.
Well, Tigers will continue to play that little lullaby with their tempo. And Bailey Terang trying to put something on. Now here comes the Storm once again. Terang sends it back over, and that will count for the Crimson Storm.
If you notice, John, the last 3 times Lexi Matthews has gone up, she's hit the ball in the same exact spot and forcing ECU's off blocker on their outside to play defense, and they have not been successful, John. She's really found a hole, and she's exposing that.
There's Lexi Matthews. Apologies. Dug up by Bell. Can the Crimson Storm get to it? Yes, they can. Give it back to the Tigers. That time, Abby Bell wanted a dig that didn't necessarily have to be hers.
Yeah, that's a huge part of volleyball. John, 900 square feet to be covered by 6 people is kind of a bad ratio sometimes. A couple of people will bump into each other, miscommunicate on a ball. That's why it's so important to talk and be able to know who's taking that ball and to be able to say that quickly and loudly.
Matthews can't quite get it. And now a couple of impressive digs displayed by both teams. That time the Tigers get the better of it.
SNU right now is looking to get this ball in system and be able to put this ball down as soon as possible. And there it is, John.
And they hit that one right into the SNU student section. The Tigers trying to save it. That time, I believe that was Terang laying the attack down.
I believe it was Kaylin Vout on the slide behind Elise Berlin there, going straight down the line towards their left back defender, forcing that ball to be passed out of bounds.
Now the Crimson Storm will set up once again. Bowie. And East Central sends that one right to the net, and now the Crimson Storm set point.
SNU is in a great spot right now to finish out this game with Courtney Bowie, Caitlin Vout, and Lexi Matthews. All 3 excellent blockers on the front row, ready to wreak havoc on the offense.
And an impressive dig by the Crimson Storm. That time, I am positive it was Terang. And she sends that one right into the net. And now it will not be a duplicate of the first serve, or excuse me, the first set in terms of score, but the Crimson Storm still hold a 2-point lead. And it's dug up. Now the Crimson Storm are in a little bit of a bind as it's 23-24. Harrison with the serve. SNU trying to put this one away. Can't quite do it as it's rejected by the Tigers. And Bowie. And it's given to East Central. Couldn't quite find the line. And now we're tied at 24. Now we play first one to get 2.
SNU still has every opportunity to clinch this game, John. With a pass, a set, and a hit, SNU is going to be able to clinch this game and get this back to where they want it to be.
with the set. And that time, oh, you better believe it, number 5, Caitlin Vaught, the senior out of Dakota City, Iowa. And now we have set point number 2 for the Crimson Storm.
Excellent combination there, having Lexi Matthews back to serve for this game point. A very well-disciplined server.
Qualls on the court. McKenna Qualls puts the second set away for the Crimson Storm. And now both teams will go into the locker room for intermission as the Crimson Storm take a 2-0 set lead over the Tigers. And the Crimson Storm sitting pretty as the mass migration by the student section once again takes place. When we come back, we'll go over the first 2 sets by the Crimson Storm and the Tigers. We'll talk about the upcoming set and how SNU might be able to put this one away. And we'll have an interview with Coach Kevin Ingram with our sideline reporter, Cheyenne Reynolds. Don't go anywhere. It's just getting exciting here on SNUathletics.com. Welcome back to SNUathletics.com. SNU ends the second set in dramatic fashion, taking it 26-24 over the Tigers. And SNU sitting pretty after 2 sets. Michaela Schoeneman, what'd you see in this so far?
Right, John. So at the beginning of the game, I talked a little bit about what would be the keys for SNU success today on the court. And one of the main ones that I did say was serving. That would be a big element to this game. And we saw in that first and second set a lot of service errors by both teams. That's honestly first ball contacts. By that, I mean serving and serve receive. Those first ball contacts are extremely key to success in any game, no matter who you're playing. If you cannot serve in, you cannot win. Quite honestly.
Well said.
Right.
Well said. And you're right. And you're right. I mean, both teams having some difficulty early on in the first set, unable to put the ball in on the serves. And SNU should count themselves lucky that even though they couldn't get the serves down, East Central couldn't either. Right.
It was kind of a well-timed mistake. Also, another thing that we're looking for from SNU in this third game is a great deal of discipline. After you take a break like this and come back out onto the court, it's easy to lose focus or even for the other team to gain an advantage on you and kind of being able to plan out like what they've seen and what they can make corrections on. So staying disciplined on SNU's side and being able to control the pace of the game is going to be a huge advantage to them and probably the key to winning this third game and getting out of here.
Now ECU, once again, they like to slow it down and play at their own pace. SNU, I could see it. They're at the end of the second set. They're picking it up. Mm-hmm. They're picking up the pace. They're picking up the speed. I mean, they're picking up the tempo, and they're right where they want to be. And we said earlier that ECU went to 5 sets against OBU, and unlike the Crimson Storm, they were able to finish in the 5th set. So that is where they play their best ball, is playing long, drawn-out games. SNU ain't having any of that.
I hope not, John. It's always best to be able to win early and not drag those games out into those 4th and 5th sets if you can avoid it. Too many things come into factor as you go into those 4th and 5th games.
Well, SNU is only 25 points away from putting this one in the books and completing the sweep. When we come back, we'll hear from head coach Kevin Ingram and our sideline reporter Cheyenne Reynolds when we come back to SNUathletics.com.
Of the net and just trying to adjust, having to make more shots than we typically hit the ball a lot harder and that kind of thing. But we've figured some things out as we've gone through the first 2 sets, so hopefully we'll come out and do what we need to do here in the third.
Okay, and so what are some changes we can hope to see for the upcoming sets?
Well, I just want us to play a little bit higher level, definitely pick up our energy, continue to do the things well, serve a little bit better. We've missed way too many serves in the first 2 sets, and just pass good balls. Take care of that first ball contact and we'll be fine.
All right, well, thank you, Coach. Good luck.
You.
All right, thank you, guys. And back to you.
Thank you, Cheyenne. When we come back, we'll have the third set between the SNU Crimson Storm and the ECU Tigers as the Crimson Storm look for the sweep when we come back to SNUathletics.com. Welcome back to SNUathletics.com. After winning the first 2 sets, the Crimson Storm are looking for the sweep against the East Central Tigers. And it looks like Taylor Turner will do us the honor of starting us off. She started the whole night off serving for the Tigers, and she'll start off the 3rd set trying to avoid the sweep. And that time, Elise Berlin, once again, she's kind of a silent predator there in the middle, just sending it back to where no one is. And Elise Berlin is the one that will start serving for us. And that one's blocked, and SNU starting on a fast track.
Elise Berlin really getting our team going on this side of the court. Starting off, first of all, with an attack kill, but also with a great serve.
Alex Campbell that time. And that time it's Harrison. So Campbell and Harrison putting forth the assault for the Tigers. Now SNU. Here come the Tigers once again. That one flies out. Once again, Campbell, this time an attacking error. And now the Crimson Storm have come off to the start that they were planning to get off to start off the whole match. Elise Berlin on the serving line. Not the best of sets by the Tigers, but effective. As SNU will just have to send that one back over. That one's blocked by the Crimson Storm as well. And that's dug up by the Crimson Storm once again, playing great defense. Puts that one away as number 10, Lily Porsa, tried to reach out with her hand and dig that one up. Couldn't quite get there. SNU has a 4-0 lead. Way to start off this 3rd set. And another block by the Crimson Storm. A 5-0 start. Best start of this entire match by any team.
SNU displaying a great deal of discipline in the front row right now. All 3 players that are blocking and really wreaking havoc on ECU, all seniors, all really good volleyball players that know where to be, when, and how to present a menacing block.
ECU finally gets on the board. And now it's Harrison giving us the serve. Berlin with the set and a kill. That time, I believe that was looking over there. That's Caitlin Vout.
It is. Caitlin Vout really coming out strong this game in the front row. First match, not playing any minutes in the front row, and now being a main contributor in the front row from that middle. Really big shift there for Caitlin Vout.
And that one flies out on an attacking error by Campbell. Crimson Storm jump out to a 7-1 lead, and that will draw a timeout from the East Central Tigers. At this moment, we're going to go over some stats for you guys. 31 kills for the Crimson Storm, only 25 for East Central. Diggs seem pretty even, with SNU just edging him out with 40 as opposed to 36. We'll go over some Crimson Storm player stats at this current moment. Elise Berlin, 7 kills, 21 assists, and 7 digs. So Elise Berlin already showing that she's one of the captains of this team, and she's definitely showing it right now. Also putting up big numbers. Looking for right here, Caitlin Vout with 4 kills of her own. 4 kills of her own, 3 digs. Right now it's Elise Berlin, Caitlin Vout, and Benner coming out and playing some great volleyball for the Crimson Storm. As we are back out of the timeout, another block by the Crimson Storm. Bowie and Vout.
I tell you what, John, as a hitter on the other team, I would not like my chances against Caitlin Vout and Courtney Bowie over there, putting up 4 really, really long, very big hands in my face trying to hit around that. That'd be very, very difficult.
And that time a digging error by by the East Central Tigers. Now the Crimson Storm jump out to a 9-1 lead, an 8-point lead. I'm sure if you're Kevin Ingram, this is exactly the kind of start that you've wanted from the beginning of the night. An impressive dig by the Crimson Storm, unable to get there. At least Berlin laying it all out on the line. No one able to help her out closer to the net. Here comes Qualls with the attack. Sails out. Now the Tigers trying to make a little bit of a comeback.
McKenna Qualls looking to mix up her shots there and add in a little bit of a side cut into that deep corner, but unable to make it into that spot there, missing it just by a little bit.
That one sails out as well. Vout unable to find the line. And now Qualls once again can't find the line. Crimson Storm putting up some great combinations. They just can't find the court. They just can't find the inside line. Maybe this time? Yes, they will. Crimson Storm take the lead back to 5 points, 10-5.
Here comes Kayla Benner back into the game, ready to make a big presence on the front row there next to Courtney Bowie. What we also are seeing here a lot, John, is right now on the court we have an all-senior team with 2 juniors, a very old, a very veteran, and a very experienced volleyball team on SNU's side right now.
Well, that showed in comparison to East Central, who has a little bit of a miscommunication. And it comes up to being another point for the Crimson Storm. That one sails out as well. Crimson Storm were sitting right where they want to. I'm sure Kevin Ingram gave them a good talking to in the intermission, and definitely shows on the court. But here come the Tigers. Campbell, stuck up by Berlin. Campbell again flies out of the back.
We've seen a huge momentum shift here, John. Just in SNU's overall confidence and how they're running their side of the court right now. Complete difference after this intermission that we've taken. They've come out very strong and also very confident in what they're doing and their skills.
Bounces over the net. Caitlin Vout barely gets it over, but that barely's just enough as it threw off the Tigers, and it put it right there. Unable to find it, unable to adjust to the to the changed trajectory of the ball. And now the Crimson Storm have a 9-point lead over the Tigers. We'll come back to SNUathletics.com. Crimson Storm well in control. Welcome back to SNUathletics.com. Crimson Storm in the driver's seat. A 14-5 lead. Here come the Tigers. Campbell. Once again, the Tigers trying to find Campbell, and she sends it off. It's off to the left. Not where they want it. Now the Crimson Storm have a 10-point lead. And that one can't quite find the inside of the court. Gives ECU the ball back.
A big part of volleyball, John, sorry to interrupt you there. Big part of volleyball is understanding the score. Being a good volleyball team, understands the score, where they're at, how much they're winning by or how much they're losing by. So in this case right now, the Crimson Storm is looking to go very aggressive offensively, to take big swings and to be able to try to earn some extra points because they have a little bit of room and a little bit of a cushion with their lead. And we've seen that so far as Crimson Storm have gone back and forth with several very aggressive attacks and eventually causing ECU to stumble and give them the point.
It's finally punctuated in that rally by probably the most aggressive one on the team, Benner, as the Tigers almost able to get it over the net, but not quite. And that one, another service error. Chalk another one of those up. Brings the score to 16-7 in Crimson Storm's favor. And that one goes right into the net. And I don't know who's going to admit this one on the Crimson Storm's team or even the East Central's team, but I might want to credit that one to the Southern Nazarene student section back there.
I would not disagree with you, John.
Partially blocked by the Crimson Storm, gives ECU another touch. Once again, another touch by the Tigers. Just send it back over to the Crimson Storm. And she puts that one down. Number 8, Lexi Matthews. Here come the Tigers trying to get a little bit of a heartbeat back. Unable to do it as they send that one off to the left again. 19-7 advantage Crimson Storm with Abby Bell serving.
And here we've got Emily Breckenridge making her first appearance in the game on the left side, in for Lexi Matthews. Coach Ingram looking to switch up our change of pace just a little bit.
And that one goes on and hits number 6, Micah Rogers, right in the neck and chest area. Unable to rally with that. Gives SNU to the 20-point mark. Breckenridge, as you were saying, comes into the game, 5'9" sophomore out of Grand Prairie, Texas. And that one gives another error by the Tigers, gives SNU another point, 21-7. It's a football game. It's a football game score.
Got a little bit of a miscommunication between referees here. They're going to take a second to deliberate over the call that was made. We had Emily Breckenridge going up for the Crimson Storm for a joust, and the call initially was made that ECU was in the net. And the down ref and the up ref are looking to see what they saw. And they're going to settle at a replay, John, which I believe was the right call in that situation. Not quite sure what each of the referees saw in that play, but they definitely were not on the same page. So in that case, John, the appropriate decision to make is a replay if two referees cannot come to a decision.
So a replay will take place, but it will not be the same lineup as Emily Watts will come into
Huge shift here for the Crimson Storm. Elise Berlin taking a seat on the sidelines, and Kylie Smith will be taking over at the setter position and running our side of the court now.
Reaching over the net is the Tigers. And now, replay or not, the score is back to 21-7. Abby Bell staying on that serving line. Breckenridge blocked at the net. Gives the Tigers back to serve.
We've seen quite a few substitutions in the last couple of points here, John. Both coaches looking to get a lot of different people, some different looks in this game.
Number 5, Vout, couldn't quite pick that one up. ECU trying to keep their spotless GAC record intact. Blocked at the net by the Storm. Sent back over. Now the Storm have a chance. And a miscommunication on the set. Benner was ready to wind up and send that one home, but couldn't quite get the jump timed right.
I can tell you right now, John, probably one of the most difficult things to step in the middle of a game and do is run a 5-1 system, and that's exactly what Kylie Smith is doing right now. Elise Berlin single-handedly runs the SNU offense every single game and pretty much every single set. And here comes Kylie Smith. It's kind of thrown on her in the middle of a game to take over, and that change of command can be a really difficult shift, but she seems to be handling it really well.
Bailey Terang will replace Benner after she gets redemption from that mistimed jump and finally puts it down, gives the 22-point. Blocked at the net by the Crimson Storm. That was Watts and Vout. 23-10. And another error, a double hit by the Tigers, and it's match point, not set point anymore. Crimson Storm, 1 point away from taking the top spot in the GAC. It's dug up. Here come the Storm. Watts! Couldn't quite get there, puts it down. Crimson Storm sweep ECU. Third set score 25-10 as a dominant third set is displayed by the Crimson Storm. Completely, it's the tale of two teams here, Michaela. Two sets of an error-ridden team, and now just dominant performance.
Definitely, John. What we saw in that third game was honestly a completely different mindset, almost a completely different team out on the floor for the SNU Crimson Storm. So in the first two sets, we saw ECU kind of on the top as far as controlling the tempo of the game and forcing SNU out of their comfort zone of what they know they can do best. And in that third set there, what we saw SNU with high energy coming out on the floor, knowing who they are, what's the DNA of their team. They found that, rediscovered that, and went straight at ECU and gave them as much as they can handle and more.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we can confirm at this point that obviously ECU is now, there are no more undefeated teams in the GAC.
Correct, John.
ECU has finally had their first loss, and SNU has jumped up the leaderboards to a 4-1 record that puts them at the top. And we can, a couple of other scores around the GAC. Arkansas Tech sweeps Arkansas Monticello 3-0. Harding sweeps 3-0. And Henderson State pulls off the upset and beats Ouachita in 5 sets. 3-2 victory for the Reddies. So by my calculations, my estimations, Southern Nazarene is now tied with Arkansas Tech at the top of the GAC. Those two stand alone. We are about to sign off for just a minute, and when we come back, we'll have an interview with our player of the game and head coach Kevin Ingram when we come back here to SNUathletics.com. Welcome back to SNUathletics.com. I'm joined here by our player of the game, Elise Berlin. Elise, tale of two teams. The first two games, kind of a sluggish start, but then the third set, wow, y'all dominated the Tigers. What was the difference between those games?
I think that the best part about our team is that we have a huge team that we can utilize, and I think players came in and knew what they needed to do, and we finally got used to their game plan and just took it to them.
All right, so now that you've won, Ouachita got upset today by Henderson State, and Arkansas Tech swept Monticello. So now you and Art Tech right there at the top, tied at 4-1 apiece. How do you envision, like, how do you guys see the rest of the season playing out for you guys?
We know that every team we play is just the only way they're going to beat us is if we beat ourselves. So every team is just how good can we play each day.
All right. And you got Midwestern State coming in a couple of days. How do you guys prepare for Midwestern?
Midwestern's always fun to play. They always have a lot of athletes, and I think we match up against them really well. I think it's just a game where we need to it helps us focus on our blocking, and so they're a good athletic team, and it shows us what we can do.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, SNU sweeps East Central, takes a two-way tie for number 1 in the GAC. For Michaela Shoneman, Connor McKenzie, Cheyenne Reynolds, I'm John Hale signing off, and remember, keep those bolts up.